You got somewhere to be after this? Am I making you late for an appointment? And the appointment and alignment committee, Mr. Brownfield redevelopment, here to demystify the operations and functions of the Transit Authority, materials management, veteran services, CNA, buy your grandma some AirPods, break it down into more layman's terms. We're just here to have a little bit of fun. Hey there, Ottawa County. Welcome back to Ottawa Out Loud, the official podcast of Ottawa County. I am your host, Scott. We have a fantastic show for you here today. We're going to start off with just a few quick announcements. Art for the Parks is this Saturday, April 26th. It's from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Nature Education Center at Hemlock Crossings Park. It's going to be a collaboration with the Ottawa County Parks Foundation and the Lakeshore Visual Arts Collective. There's going to be painting, photography, jewelry, sculpture, ceramics, fiber art, and a cash bar. Registration is not required, but you will get to skip the line when you enter the event if you're pre-registered. Next up, the Grand Explorers Trail Race registration is open. Hashtag 2parks1 race. The event itself is going to be Saturday, June 21st, but you're going to want to register as soon as possible. If you're a runner, a walker, a general enjoyer of nature, you're going to want to be there for this event. Link is going to be down below in the description. Next one is also another Ottawa County Parks event. This is called Step It Up. It is a free 8-week walking program that's going to start on April 29. There are group events, weekly raffles, and of course, an excuse to get out and enjoy the beautiful natural spaces around us. 841 residents registered in 2024, and 74% of them reported an improvement in their physical health, and 80% reported improvements in their mental health. I think that's a win-win. It's totally free, and it seems like a really fun time. More information in the description below. Next up, you'll notice that with me is Daniel, and the reason why Daniel is in the studio here with us today is to talk a little bit about the medication take-back event that Ottawa County CMH is involved in. That's coming up pretty soon here, right?
Yeah. April 26th, which is a Saturday. That's from 10 to 2. We're at Corwell Zealand Hospital this time around. It's just a really good event for people to come dispose of their medications safely, prevent accidental misuse or, kids experimenting. We've learned a lot that in the prevention field that a lot of kids will often say the first time that they experiment will be with getting something out of their parents' medicine cabinets or their friends getting medications out of their medicine cabinets.
And if it's a medication that is no longer needed, it doesn't need to be in the medicine.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And you're not supposed to just flush them down the toilet or...
No, right. Yeah. That's very, very, very bad for the environment as well. Getting the water supply, bad for, the wildlife.
So with this event, obviously, whenever there, medications and substances that may be controlled are involved, do people have to worry about getting a lot of questions asked about where they got these?
No, we make this as simple as possible for the participants. You don't even have to get out of your car. It's a drive-through event, so someone will walk up, ask you if you think that you have any controlled substances, just because that's something that we do collect the numbers, the data behind it, just to see how many pills that we get off the street. Basically, there's nothing participants need to do ahead of time. So how it happens, there will be a volunteer come up to the car, you hand them the meds, volunteer will ask if you would like a free naloxone kit. We are offering lockup bags, medication lock boxes, just individual pill locks. That's new this year.
Oh, nice.
And then from there, the volunteer will take the meds back, and we have a pharmaceutical rep who's trained in these medications. They'll go, we don't open the bottles. They go into a box. The only person that has any control of that box is the officer, and the officer takes it directly to Grand Rapids to the incinerator. There's no worry about any information, getting out there or anything like that. It's all very private.
Safe.
Very
private.
safe. Very safe, yeah. Nothing to worry about on that end. Yeah.
Sort of, I can't say no questions asked, but no probing questions.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we don't need to know why you have these, anything, why. Yeah, nothing like that.
Okay. Cool. So you mentioned that there are some other services being provided to these lockup boxes and everything. So it's not just for individuals who have medication to get rid of. Can people come if they're just interested in these medication safety materials as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's disposal sites throughout the year.
Yeah.
But what makes these events unique is we collect liquids, which is you can't put a liquid in the typical disposal boxes, and we collect sharps.
Gotcha.
You can't get rid of sharps really
Right.
anywhere easily. You know what I mean?
At a doctor's office.
Correct. Right.
Yeah. Safe disposal of medications. Doesn't matter where you got them, when you got them. If they're no longer needed in your home for you and your loved ones, go to this event. It's Saturday, April 26th at Corwell Zealand.
Yes, Corwell Zealand Hospital, right on Felt Street. Yeah, it like I said, it's a super quick process. You can be in and out basically as quick as you would like to be. But if you have questions or you want to discuss anything more, that's
staff on site to answer questions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, thanks, Daniel. I really appreciate you coming in. I wanted to give this a little bit more attention because this is a pretty important event for people to know about. So.
Yeah.
Hey, tell everybody. In just a bit, we'll introduce our guests for the main segment. But for now, I'm joined by my co-hosts, the children of employees of the Clerk and Register of Deeds office, because it's Bring Your Kids to Work Day today. I need some help doing an introduction for this episode.
Welcome to...
We'll say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Ottawa out loud. Nice.
Welcome to Ottawa Out Loud.
If you had a podcast, what would you want to have your podcast be all about?
Marine biology, because when I get older, I want to study sea creatures and things.
Girl, that
I
is
want
so
to be
cool.
a marine biologist.
That is so cool.
I would probably talk about animals. I love animals and
Yeah.
stuff.
Just all animals, not just ocean animals?
Yeah, just all animals.
That's so cool. I love that. I love animals. Raise your hand if you like animals. Have either of you ever been to Mr. Burger?
I've never been there.
Really? You should try it.
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know what Mr. Burger is? Oh, my friends, let me tell you. We're not sponsored by Mr. Burger, by the way. They have not paid me a dime. Am I allowed to take money, Shannon? So who are you here with? You're adult here.
My mom, Nicole.
Do you know what she does for work?
She's a supervisor. In
What does that mean?
Court records. She is in charge of all the people below her.
That's a pretty good answer. Yeah. All right.
I'm here with my dad, Justin, and he is the Ottawa County Clerk.
Awesome. Do you know what he does every day?
He does stuff with records, and when there's elections, he helps with the elections and the early voting.
Wow. If everyone voted for you, what's the very first thing you would do?
If everyone voted for me, for what?
I don't know. I was going to leave it open. I was hoping you wouldn't ask. Let's just say like president or whatever.
Paint the White House teal.
The Teal House.
Everyone will agree that cheer is a sport.
Okay. Justice for cheering. What's your hot take? What's something that you could say that some people might disagree with you, but you really believe in it?
Snakes aren't slimy.
Snakes aren't slimy. That is a hot take. I feel like if you had asked me, I would have said, on average, snakes are probably slimy. But you know what? I might do some more research about snakes, and maybe I'll find out that they're not slimy, because you were brave enough to say your hot take on this podcast. Thank you. What's your hot take?
That pineapple does not belong on pizza.
Cut. We're done here. Cut. Now, Mario, I'm having a hard time with this, because we were clearly raised very differently. When I was a child, pineapple on pizza was sort of everything to me. I think that's the amazing thing about democracy, is that you and me can disagree.
Yeah,
Really, a lot, and it's all good.
it's all good.
And I think that that's a beautiful thing. If everybody voted for you, let's say king of the world, what's your first official act?
Give everybody free money.
Free money? Okay. We've crashed the world's economy, and now all the money everybody has is worthless.
Take everybody's everything away. Start from scratch.
Okay. We're getting somewhere, and then what? The people are starving. This is like day 2 of your kingship.
They're gonna build it.
They're going to build it. Okay. We have a cruel dictator on our hands, everybody. Let's move on to co-host number 2 here.
Make taxes illegal.
Make taxes illegal. Great. Now I've lost my job. You know, it's not personal. I can lose my job.
No, taxes are bad.
Taxes are bad, but not illegal.
No, back.
Oh, they're back. Okay.
My favorite movie ever is probably Prince of Egypt.
Okay, give us a full explanation why.
I don't know.
You know what? Sometimes that's how it be.
My favorite movie is, I have to say I have a lot of them.
Yeah?
But if I had to choose one, it'd be Wild Robot and wait, no, it'd be the Minecraft movie because of how ugly the sheep look.
I watched The Wild Robot recently with my wife. We sobbed.
Agreed.
We sobbed like we were 2 years old.
Diamond armor.
Is there anything
full set.
either of you want to say for our audience? Is there anything that they should know?
I think something the audience should know is one cool thing about us. I really love animals, and that I think they're just the sweetest little things ever.
And I've been saying that, guys. I've been saying that since day one. You want to give us one more interesting thing about you? Oh, Michael here.
So one more interesting thing about me is that I've worn glasses since I was 1.
Wow.
We're the 11th and 12th ever kids on Ottawa Out Loud.
That is a really cool fun fact. Is that The Price is Right where they do, come on down? Was that too loud? Just like the previous 2 guests, it's very interesting because they started off not as guests, they started off as crew members. What was the best part of getting to be 2 of the first unpaid child employees on Ottawa Out Loud? You got somewhere to be after this? Am I making you late for an appointment? If you had a podcast and you could talk about anything for an hour straight and people listen to you, what would you want to talk about?
I'm crazy.
You would just have a podcast about how crazy you are?
Yeah,
That's basically what this is.
because I like doing this.
You like doing this?
Yeah.
You're going to make a podcast about how much you like being on a podcast?
Yeah.
That is wild. That is so cool. Now it's time for meeting minutes. Hey there, and welcome back to Meeting Minutes, Ottawa County Board of Commissioners meetings conveniently recapped in 3 minutes or less. Today we're covering the April 22nd board meeting. My name is Scott, and as always, we've got a lot to go over, so let's get right into it. All commissioners were present for today's meeting. As with all full board meetings, we started with consent resolutions, which are items that were approved by our 2 standing committees, Planning and Policy and Finance and Administration. These items could and did take up a whole video just for themselves. Check out the meeting minutes from April 10th for more on these items. One item was pulled from this section and added to the action items, but all were eventually passed. After consent resolutions, the board held a public hearing regarding a proposed brownfield plan amendment for the planned development known as the landings at Rush Creek. Item A was a motion to approve the aforementioned brownfield plan amendment. The motion passed. Item B was a motion to approve the board chair and county clerk to sign the 2025 Ottawa County Equalized Values and appoint the equalization director to represent the county at the state equalization hearings. The motion passed. Item C was a motion to approve the 2025 Equalized Values Form 4037C, which is the 3rd form in the tax assessment process, which is too complicated for me to explain or understand. The motion passed. Item D was a motion to approve a contract with People Driven Technologies to assist the IT department with planning, designing, and executing an upcoming data center refresh. This work does not come at any extra cost to the county. The motion passed. Item E was a motion to amend the board rules to deviate from section 16.5 of Robert's Rules of Order. This would allow a simple majority vote to close discussion, otherwise known as calling the question. The motion passed after being amended to require a 3/5 majority vote. Item F was a motion to amend the board rules to include guidelines on usage of commissioner letterhead in order to better differentiate between official board communication and individual commissioner communication. After some conversation and compromise, the motion passed. Item G was a motion to accept a written attorney-client privilege recommendation to reject a settlement offer regarding the ongoing Zimmer v. Ottawa County lawsuit. The motion passed. Item H was a motion to approve a resolution to initiate litigation to postpone the closure and demolition of the J.H. Campbell plant in West Olive. The motion failed. Item I was a motion to forward the previous resolution to the United States Department of Energy. Because the motion to approve the resolution failed, this motion, of course, failed as well. Item J was a motion to nominate and appoint David Kroll to the Ottawa County Jury Board, representing the Republican Party beginning May 1, 2025 and ending April 30, 2031. The motion passed. Item K was a motion to approve the 3-year, $97,000 contract with CityBot for chatbot software for the county's website. The motion passed. The meeting ended with annual reports from the Equalization Department, Public Defender's Office, and Treasurer's Office, as well as a discussion on board updates from the Health and Human Services Departments. Well, that's all I got for you today, folks. If you'd like to watch the full meeting, you can check it out on our YouTube channel. And if you'd like to take a closer look at the agenda, and if you're brave enough, the meeting packet, you can find them both at miottawa.org. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. And we're back with my two lovely guests here. We have Justin Roebuck, the Ottawa County Clerk, and Katie Bard, the Elections Supervisor.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I do my research here. I do a full deep dive. So the whole reason why these two lovely people are here on this podcast is because there may or may not be an election coming up soon.
In May.
In May.
Oh, it may or may not.
In the month
The-
of May.
That's a great play on words.
I didn't try to do that. The May 6th special election is coming up. Tell me a little bit about this election. How does it differ from like a typical November election? Because I feel like a lot of people are very aware of November elections. People know usually a lot more info about those. And whenever there's a special election, it's like everyone's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And I think to your point too, like a lot of us think, okay, we don't really have a whole lot going on until 2026, right? That's the gubernatorial cycle, a lot of things happening then. But really we are always in a planning process for elections or holding an election. This type of election in May is important because we're voting on a lot of issues that affect local communities. So primarily millage and bond requests are coming through from our school districts and local communities, cities and townships, and they're asking the voters these questions. Do you want to support these institutions with these taxes? And so I think that's a really important reason to connect with the May election.
So it is a special election, and we're used to thinking about primary elections in August or a general election in November. And these are very candidate focused, based off of terms of office. Special election, as Justin mentioned, we see a lot of bond proposals, millage proposals, ballot questions that jurisdictions or schools can be putting on the ballot. You could also see a candidate on the ballot in a special election, but that's specifically for partial terms. So you kind of get the idea of it's a special election for a specific reason.
I think one other critical difference with this one is that there is no early voting. So we remember we kind of focused heavily last year was really the official rollout of early voting across the state of Michigan. Voters chose to do this in the constitutional amendment. And we had 3 elections of 4 last year that were state or federal elections. But in May, as Katie was saying, in these special elections, typically there is not a candidate being proffered on the ballot. And in the case of our upcoming election, this is a local election only, which means no early voting options are available for May. So we're going to have to wait until 2026 to see early voting.
Gotcha. So no early voting. Is there still absentee voting?
Absolutely. So absentee voting, always an option, a really convenient option. You can vote absentee. In fact, ballots go out roughly 40 days prior to an election. Your local clerk is going to have ballots on hand 45 days prior to the election. And so they are available for voters all the way up until Election Day.
Gotcha. So if you are supposed to receive an absentee ballot, by the time this podcast is out, you should definitely have it.
Yeah,
We
great point.
I checked this morning, we have 66,000 ballots that have been sent out at this point, and about 23,000 ballots have already been returned.
Say, wow, 23.
Yeah.
Hey, that's almost 24. We're really making strides.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, you love to see it. So we can talk a little bit more about why a voter may want to vote in a May special election, because you hear, so much news about what's going on at the federal level, so much about what's going on at the state level. How do some of these proposals and whatnot on these ballots, how does that affect individuals at a local level?
This is a great question, and it's something I'm actually a little jazzed about because it matters so much, and you see a significant decrease in turnout in these local elections. So we'll probably see a 20% turnout in May.
What's typical for a November?
So last November, we saw about 75%.
Wow. Okay.
So that's a big difference. But what's crazy is these local elections have a big effect on your life. And you can actually have arguably the biggest effect on these elections due to the size.
Yeah.
On the ballot this time around, we have proposals from the Ottawa Area ISD, which means that most Ottawa residents have a ballot with a question on it. And it pertains to your tax dollars. So if you have an opinion on it and you want to flex that democratic privilege that we have to say what we thank you, where our money goes, how we want it spent, this is a way you can do it very directly. And then you add on to that such a small turnout, that means your voice, your vote is that much more mathematically impactful. Yeah, and we do have some proposals for specific townships, so Grand Haven Township, Port Sheldon Township, so that's just a few thousand voters, or your local school district.
Right.
Yeah, and I think importantly, with the local school districts too, they have what they call their annual millage renewal. So a good portion, a huge portion of our school funding comes from what we call non-homestead taxes. So these are people who own a vacation property or a secondary property, or businesses that own property within the communities are paying a millage that goes directly to the school district. So this does not apply to your house. If you're living, in your home, this tax does not go, you pay certain taxes to the school districts, but this particular millage vote, which is typical for many of our schools to do on an annual basis, some of them do on a rotating basis. It's a tax on non-homestead property that essentially funds our school districts.
Wow. So that really makes me think of whenever I'm voting and I get to the proposals section and I'm like, I want to get out of here. And I just check yes or I just check no. Maybe here's a novel thought. Maybe read through it and look for terminology like homestead or non-homestead, right? And look for a renewal versus an increase or a decrease, right? Because if you're already paying a certain tax and it's just being renewed, your taxes aren't necessarily going up unless the proposal mentions an increase. So I've been saying this since the day I was born. Read the words in front of you. I always take that advice. It's fine.
I think that's a really good point because, proposals are confusing. They're written in legal terms and they're reviewed by lawyers, and it has to be very specific in the language used. Yeah. But what we are constantly encouraging folks to do, you can go to our website right now, miottawa.org/elections.
Go
literally right now. You just open another window in your browser,
new tab,
obviously.
New tab.
Don't want to stop watching the podcast.
Don't mess with my analytics.
Click right here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's customer service.
I think it's going to be, Katie, point to the space right above you. Click right. No. Yep, right there. Click right there.
That's perfect.
I don't know. That's probably not going to work.
But you can review ballot language early, and that's what I always suggest too, because particularly in like the big elections, in the presidential election, everyone's focused on those national candidates, but you walk into the voting booth and you see suddenly there are 50 candidates on that ballot, along with proposals, some local stuff.
The president of the University of Michigan, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like all of our Board of Education folks are voted on the statewide level. So it is really helpful to just take a look at that ballot beforehand, and you can easily do that at miottawa.org/elections and just kind of, ask those questions, Google what you need to, do the research before Election Day.
Yeah, do your research, come in with a plan. Until an embarrassingly late period, I didn't know very much about a millage and what a millage is. I know that's not like your specialties. I know that's the equalization department.
Yeah.
Could you talk through maybe like at like a fifth grade level of what a millage is?
Yeah, so it's a very legitimate question. It's a very good question. A mill is considered, I believe, and again, equalization is totally the expert on this, not me, but a mill is considered like 1,000th of your total value of your property. And so, the millage rate, the rate is calculated based on that percentage of what your taxable valuation is for your property. And so one requirement actually on a ballot proposal is that it's actually supposed to break down the actual cost. It may say, 0.15 mils for 1 year. We're going to levy this tax of 0.15 mils for 1 year.
So
this equals $100 on each $1,000 of taxable valuation, or whatever the calculation may be. We have an amazing equalization department, and our equalization director is so good at all of that stuff, and that whole team. But basically, in actually reading the proposal language, you can see how many dollars will be levied on each $1,000 of value for your home.
Yeah, and
so if you
the
know
house isn't the same as the amount that it would sell for.
That's correct. It's not like your Zillow reading. It's what the city or the township sends you in that bill and says, this is your taxable valuation. So
there's no Zestimate on the ballot.
That's right. That's probably a good thing. Yeah.
Jeez.
I will plug that this is not going to be our only election this year. We will. I know.
Here we go.
Breaking news. Actually, not statutorily mandated, but we will still have more elections.
All right. It's news to at least one person in this.
We have city elections coming up this year as well. So we'll have a city general in November for mayoral and your council members of our several cities throughout the county.
I think that's a really good point to make, because I feel I get to experience a lot of the, this elected representative is a fool and I hate them, and, in Facebook comments and everything. And I'm just always thinking, like, I hope you voted.
To your point, it matters, right? It's a responsibility we have as citizens, and if we're not engaging in the voting process, which is selecting those individuals, it makes it really hollow when we complain about those actions. So
it's also bragging rights when the person you voted for does a great job.
I
did
that.
I did that. I get some credit there. So registration. I know everyone always talks about registrations around federal elections and everything. What does a voter need to know these days to make sure they're registered? Is it too late? Just drop all the information.
Absolutely. Voter registration is always a big conversation. Your first step, really simply, if you would like, is just to go to michigan.gov and you can check your voter registration there. It gives you lots of information on where you're registered, where your polling location is. There's sample ballots there as well. You can check with your local clerk and you can get registered with them. So our registration for online or by mail has passed, but you can still go in up through 8 p.m. on Election Day, May 6th, and you can register in person at your local clerk's office if you would like to vote. Say you just moved to the area or something has changed, you can go in and get that.
So I know there have been some updates to the results website, right? Some improvements. Our IT department working hard to make the user experience better, more clear, more accurate.
So we're really excited about this change. Actually, this is a pretty substantial change in the look and feel of how we report election results. So behind the scenes, nothing has really changed in terms of the security process that we go through to get election results to our office. But when we post them on the web, our users are going to have a little bit of a different experience, a little better of an experience when they look at election results. And so this has really been a kind of a long-term goal for us to bring more information. So for example, this new site's going to have a lot more granular detail, especially in some of these larger elections, right? When you're looking for really specific information, maybe by precinct, maybe I'm not the only election nerd out there that likes to really drill down into some of this stuff. We'll have that reporting availability right on the website for people to download those reports. A pretty clean reporting interface on the website as well, with pie charts and graphs pretty clearly showing the results.
What font are you using?
Probably Papyrus would be my guess.
Papyrus, Comic Sans.
Right, Comic Sans, yeah. I'm sorry, Papyrus is so outdated.
Schiller used to be a favorite of mine. It looks like a horror movie. Yeah.
It's actually really word art.
Yeah. So yeah, another of the cool features that I really like about this, and again, this is particularly in larger, we're rolling it out this year in a kind of a soft launch, obviously, in some smaller elections. what's going to be really cool when you have a lot of races on the ballot, I can just select a favorite. So for example, there might be 50 candidates on various offices all over the ballot, but I'm looking for my township supervisor race, and I want to know when that's updated. I can check that race as a favorite, and automatically, when I refresh the website, that race populates first for me. Wow. And so it's a super easy, user-friendly interface. We're super excited about it, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing that in action for May.
Ultimately, this is just a platform to show the information, but everything else about the process and the security of that information is the exact same.
Speaking of security information, we recently wrapped up the logic and accuracy testing process. Do you want to tell me a little bit about what that process involves, the benefits that has to the voters and everything?
Every election about a month before the election day, my team is out and we are testing for that election. And so what that looks like is we are going to every single jurisdiction that has
how many jurisdictions are there?
So we have 23 jurisdictions in Ottawa County, and that can be about 103, 106 precincts. Wow. But then each jurisdiction has a number of devices for each of those precincts that need to be tested. So every piece of election equipment is tested before every election. And so we're testing both the logic of the programming to make sure that the machines are reading in the information correctly, and then the accuracy to make sure that they're understanding what they're seeing. And, something as simple as a voter, draws outside the lines of the bubble, or accidentally, they put a pen rest in the no, but they filled in the yes. What happens
Straight
to that?
To jail.
Well, no.
Okay. Understood.
Their logic and the programming of the machines can then tell the voter, hey, we see that you marked something in both of these boxes. You can't do that. It's not going to accept that answer. You can still turn your ballot in, but you won't be voting for either. Is that what you want? And so we have to test to make sure that our machines are doing things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And
that's where the logic comes into play? Okay, because I was wondering, that word, didn't mean anything to me before you explained that.
Absolutely.
In this context, at least.
And what's super cool is these are also public. So we are out and about. It takes us about 2 weeks. It's posted on our social media. It's posted in the newspaper. But we love when people come out and they ask us questions and see the process. Yeah. I can't tell you it's the most exciting thing you're ever going to see.
Hey, speak for yourself.
This is exciting.
I know one person who goes crazy. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Democracy is very exciting, but watching testing might not be. We try to answer all the questions, and a lot of times we have a good time when public comes in.
Even if that's not the most exciting thing in the world, I think the fact that it is open and available is obviously super important.
Well, I think what is so critical about all of this stuff is that, as Katie was talking about, this is a public process. Public can come in and see this. And there are so many steps throughout the election process that are public, right? The fact that as we begin the testing process for all of the pieces of equipment that are used, people can walk in and see this. During Election Day, our precincts are public.
Yep.
So you can actually come in as a member of the public and just sit in the public viewing area and watch what's happening in the precincts. And we also have roles for additional observation as well, where you can sit behind the person checking people in and issuing ballots and watch and observe that whole process. And then on the back end, as we're certifying the election, as we're auditing everything, those are also completely public experiences. And so it's really important that we're held accountable to the public for this stuff, and people have an opportunity to watch it.
If someone wanted to take a enhanced role in elections, whether it be, just watching or volunteering to be an election worker, are we still at a point where people can do that for the May 6th election?
So not quite for May 6th. There is a process to get involved to be a poll inspector, and I will say you get paid. It's not volunteer.
Hey,
always still thank
to
them.
Be paid.
They work hard for it, but absolutely there's still time to get involved for further elections this year and for next year. It does take time because you have to be approved by the local election commission. Names have to be sent to political parties because you do have to associate with a political party to be in that role. And then there's certifications, there's training involved, which we'll be doing here shortly before every election. So there's some steps beforehand, but it's such a great way to get involved. And if you have any questions about the election process, what better way than to be a part of it?
Yeah, get your hands dirty a little bit.
And I think like the people who work our elections are the backbone of our process. I mean, you know, we do a lot of stuff on the front end. Our local city and township clerks, they are on the front lines of our elections doing a ton of stuff. But it's the people who volunteer essentially, right? They're getting paid, but they're stepping up to this that are literally the face of the democratic process for our voters. And they are truly my heroes. I love these guys, and we work so well with them. It's a lot. It's a lot. It goes, I know, right? It's emotion. I get emotional. I mean, I really do.
So in addition to getting paid, you do also get a good hug from Justin.
HR approved,
Mandatory.
but absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you think that average, intelligent, beautiful, and kind viewer of Ottawa Out Loud, do you think there's anything else that they should know about elections in general, but more specifically the upcoming May 6th special election?
Why don't you go first?
No.
I mean, my biggest thing is that we've hit it, but it is public. And if you have questions, we want to answer it.
Yep.
We want you to get involved. We want you to ask questions. We want you to get out and vote because the election process is for you and by you. It sounds cliche, but that's what it is. And I am very grateful to have it. And I believe it's something that we in general as a community feel strongly to have this opportunity. So,
yeah, I mean, as Lincoln said, it's of the people, by the people, and for the people. And I like that reference that you made there, Katie. I totally agree. It's an awesome privilege to do this work. It really is. I think we have a blast doing it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of challenges. It's a lot of technical process a lot of the time. But I think behind all of it is a heart for, you know, making sure that this is done accurately with integrity and that people in our communities have a voice to actually shape their communities, which is what this May election is all about. It's local. So you're not going to find your federal candidates here, but what you will find is a lot of things that will impact your community.
And that's what's up. Awesome. Are you guys ready for a game? All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guests and other guests, welcome to Exit Poll, the coolest game on this show.
Thank you
ever
for having the coolest game for us
so far. Let's talk rules a little bit here. There are 10 questions and then a real tiebreaker if needed. You may remember from episode 2 that I gave a bad tiebreaker that they both guessed. Not having that problem here today. I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to hold up a face to give your answer, either Katie's face or, alternatively, Justin's face.
That's
got both sides as well.
so cool.
The correct answer is based on a poll we conducted with the Clerk and Register of Deeds staff. I believe we received 24 responses. Yes, Jessica helped covertly with that. The points are only awarded if your answer matches the staff's collective answer.
Right.
And cracking up is encouraged. I've been really looking forward to cracking up.
Already done that.
Question 1. Who gets the most stressed out on Election Day? The contestants both said Katie. The answer is Katie.
Whoa,
by a wide margin. Who crashes harder after Election Day? Who is just sweatpants to work, bags under their eyes?
we're not doing well.
Both contestants said Katie, and the answer is Katie by a very slim margin here. I think even the people had a hard time. You guys are neck and neck at 4 points each. You have your finger on the pulse of your staff. Question 5. Who does better office pranks? Better.
Katie.
Survey says
Yeah.
Katie again.
Prankster.
Woo, wow.
I'm sarcastic, but I'm not a prankster.
Right.
I mean,
Question 6. Who's more likely to double book a meeting? That was a quick answer. Both contestants said Justin. The answer is,
Oh, hey, whoa.
I think the people feel a certain way.
but in your
I mean-
defense, you don't always have full control over your schedule.
A lot of meetings get put on my calendar, right? So I give a lot of leverage to people to do that. And sometimes, that happens.
When will our elected officials take responsibility for their mistakes?
Whoa!
Who would win in a literal race, not a ballot race?
I'm strong, but I'm
Depends
not.
on how long the race is.
I got short legs.
Wow, for the very first time we have a split decision, folks.
It's gonna come down to this.
Justin said Katie and Katie said Justin, and survey says Katie.
Ooh.
They have a lot of confidence in your running ability.
Super excited for
So-
the physical race, but now I'm very unhappy that I'm losing.
See, I could.
I'm
sprint.
sorry. I don't know.
Well,
We might have to.
Yeah, wait.
So not only
Sit.
I just said a race and I let the people decide. So that one was a Justin win
Yeah.
because he said Katie
I just went.
and Katie said Justin. Who's more likely to forget to vote?
I can tell you right now, I've never forgotten to vote, and I have the receipts. I'm just saying.
Well,
I
I
mean,
have
you
to.
know
I,
yourself.
Just to know what the
for
stats-
strategy's sake, I'm gonna go different.
Okay.
Going Justin.
That's a bold strategy.
That is a bold.
I'm gonna.
Survey says
What?
50-50. I don't know. Oh, wait. Katie was not supposed to be in bold there. That was a mistake on my producer's part. And Reg, this is your last day, buddy. Pack up your stuff.
I guess they have equal confidence in our ability to remember to vote.
I think it's the same reason you guys struggled to decide. They have so much confidence
Yep.
in both of you.
Kate
And I
is
think that's a
completely
beautiful thing.
responsible, and I'm obsessed with everything to do with voting. So
What else do you need in a clerk's department?
exactly?
That's what I've been saying. I'm going to give you guys both points, even though there was no correct answer, to 8. And this is the last question. So, Katie, this is your last chance to tie it up before we go into the tiebreaker, which we might just do anyway for fun. Question 10. Who unnecessarily hits reply all too much for things that just we don't all need to hear about it? Come on.
See, we both have very strong feelings against this.
Yeah.
Intentional reply all.
Or
Everyone thinks they are, but yet everyone complains about people hitting reply all too much. It's one of the great paradoxes in life.
so for my
Alongside who built the Washington Monument is another one for me. Katie said Justin. What's Justin saying?
I'm gonna say me because I think the staff may have answered this.
Wow,
Even though I did probably disagree with. Wow.
Justin wins with a perfect 10. Katie with a pretty darn close 9.
It's a loss.
Do we want the tiebreaker to be worth 2 points?
Oh, absolutely.
Do we want to do the tiebreaker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I want to let
All or
the
nothing.
contestants make the rules because I have no control over anything? Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Listen to the audience.
Let's
They're
do it.
cheering right now.
Oh yeah, I can hear it too. The audience with us right now in the room?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. In the 1952 general presidential election, what percentage of Ottawa County voters voted third party?
So is this like a closest to the answer?
Yes. I'll give you 15 seconds.
All right.
Time's up. Let's see your answers.
All right.
4% and 9.2% for 2 additional points on top of their total. 1.61%.
Oh.
So Justin, with your answer of 4%, you were closest.
Wow.
And that gives you not only 10 points,
It's a strong lead.
Wow.
whatever 10 plus 2 is how many points you have.
That is impressive.
And that's gonna do it for us here in this main segment. Oh wait, no, we're not done. We're not done. There's a prize.
Oh my word, this is
Yep.
amazing.
Yep.
Wow.
Show everybody.
Show the
Yep.
I think
Here.
this is upside down, actually.
No, it's a fishbowl.
Oh, no.
Oh,
It's a fishbowl.
right, okay.
Yeah,
Apologize.
because
Sure did.
folks, you may sometimes feel as a voter that you're just one fish in a ginormous aquarium or ocean of fish. I'm making this up on the spot, but you make a difference because one fish can make a difference. Just Marlin in Finding Nemo. Dory in Finding Nemo.
This has been so
Yeah,
fun.
this has been great. We should end it.
So-
All right, back to Scott in 3, 2, 1. Wow, guys, I hope you liked that segment as much as I did. I know I learned a lot about our elections here. Make sure you're registered to vote for the May 6th election. Make sure you understand what's on your ballot. And most importantly, make sure you go out and vote. It's incredibly important, as you hopefully know by now. Thank you to everyone who has watched here today. Remember to like, leave a comment, subscribe, or follow. We also do have opportunities for you to send feedback to the show via fan mail or a voicemail via SpeakPipe. We're always looking for your thoughts. We're always looking for your feedback on the show. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.